Hi everyone, welcome to Live at 5, it's Wednesday. Today I'd like to talk to you about NPPR. What is it? NPPR is non-principal private residency tax. So sometimes when people are selling, they don't know about NPPR tax. So what is it? It's basically a tax that had to be paid, a property tax during the years of 2009 to 2013. That means 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012 and 2013 NPPR tax had to be paid for non-principal private residencies. That's, in other words, for properties other than your home. So when you're selling a property, you have to be able to prove that you've paid your NPPR. So, for example, my parents are selling their home place and they've moved to Dungarvan. I shared that recently. And they've lived in our home place, which is an old farmhouse which dates back to the 1800s. And they didn't have to pay NPPR because it was their residence, their home. But they have to prove that they were living there. And to do that, you have to give documents to show that you lived at that address between 2009 and 2013 inclusive. So those documents could be, they need to be official. They could be like from your bank, your insurance broker, social welfare documents. Now some people don't keep those documents. In fact, one family burnt them before they were putting their house on the market when they were doing their declutter per our recommendations. So that was a bit of a saga, but don't worry, it can be done. And the key thing to all of this is to organise it in plenty of time. In other words, if you're selling your property, don't wait until you have a bar to get all your paperwork in order. We're always saying make sure you have your solicitor hard, tell your solicitor that you're selling and that you are going on the market. So there's loads of paperwork, but today I want to talk about NPPR. And then I have another client who's an elderly gentleman who didn't know anything about NPPR, and we didn't rent out his apartment, he rented it out himself for years, and he did have to pay NPPR tax. But the problem is, when that tax finished in 2013, there was interest being charged, okay, on unpaid tax. So just imagine the taxman driving around in a taxi all around the country with the meter on. That's the problem with NPPR tax that had to be paid back then. So there's another client whose property we've just sold, and she lives outside of Ireland. She didn't know anything about NPPR tax. We weren't renting her property for her. She was renting it through somebody else, and she never paid it. So not only does she have the tax for those years, but she has a hefty interest bill. So it's worth just Googling NPPR tax. There's a lot of information on there about it online. We're here to help if you want some advice. But if you're selling your property, whether you're renting it out or it's your primary residence, you need to be able to prove that you lived in the home or that you've paid your NPPR. So sorry to be talking about tax at 5 o'clock in the evening, but it's very important. I hope you found this helpful and appreciate you watching. Take care. Slán go fóill.